Joining us now to discuss it all is Rohit Chopra, who is the former director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. He was fired by the Trump administration. And Skye Perryman, president and CEO of Democracy Forward. I just note, Rohit, that you were fired because your role was a role that, could serve across administrations. But, for some reason, I don't think they were interested in protecting consumers.
Well, we see how they really want control of all of these agencies. And to say that they're trying to guard against fraud is ridiculous. Once they've gotten control, they're actually giving the green light to a lot of these companies to break the law. But I really think, Simone, a lot of people don't even get what is this Federal Reserve. It's a big deal for all of us. They set the supply and price of money. It affects the rates that we pay on our credit card, our mortgage, and it has a big effect on what we're going to pay on our national debt. And the actions, the illegal actions, to try and replace these watchdogs with lapdogs, that's going to make it more expensive for everyone who wants to borrow.
I think a big part of this, from where I see it at this point, Skye, is here we go again. Here we go again. And everybody in Washington especially, and in hot spots around the country, act like, this is different. This is the same old crap Donald Trump does every time he wants to either change the narrative or go after black women. Those are the two things that seem to be consistent in his repertoire, right? We have a long history of that. But what Rohit said is very, very important, is that the Federal Reserve is an independent agency. It does not get to just be there at the whim and serve at the whim of Donald Trump. But how could this legal process play itself out? Because they want to entangle mortgage fraud, which is not real here because it has nothing to do with her job. And unless she checked a box on a federal form in which case she committed the fraud, then what are we doing here?
Well, there's no legal basis for what the president is doing. And today you saw at the cabinet meeting, he says America wants a dictator. I can do whatever I want. And the same day you see a court in Maryland, by the way, saying, well, you actually can't sue 15 federal judges, which is what he's tried to do. So I think that you are going to see the same old, same old. There's no legal basis for what he's doing. The American people should be very concerned, though, because the two things that have sort of, in some ways, restrained this administration have been the courts and the markets. And you now have Donald Trump. He's gone after the courts. The courts are holding up, but it's a treacherous battle for our team at Democracy Forward and other teams every day. And now you have him headed for the markets and the independence of the Fed. That's going to hurt every single American, but it's unlawful. And I think that you're going to see a really tough, tough thought-out legal battle ahead.
Rohit, two-part question for you. First and foremost, if a Democratic president decided to go ahead and do something like this and to essentially try and put an iron fist on economic policy, it would be called socialism veering into communism and full-on authoritarian dictatorship taking over the markets. So the first question would be is, how is this happening right now without that outcry? The second thing, though, would be, you see someone in Omaha, Nebraska looking up and says, oh, Cook, Trump's trying to fire Cook, Federal board chair. They might not understand the ramifications of this. It's unprecedented. She has a term till 2038. This is not supposed to happen because then it means that our economic policy is no longer independent. But for that voter at a kitchen table, why is it so important that someone like her stays on?
This is so important because we have all of these functions of government that have actually been weaponized, shut down. And people are now learning all of the things that are being done. Let me just say this. Normally, when President Obama took steps to rescue the auto industry, there was cries of socialism, all sorts of hyperbole. Now we hear...
That started the original Tea Party.
On everything from U.S. Steel to Intel and more. Now it's about more control over corporations, not because they're trying to protect consumers or trying to help out, but really to exert power. And for individuals, I think when you look at what people are dealing with every month, their bill, their electricity bill, their grocery bill, but also that credit card bill, the mortgage that feels like they can't buy a home. All of this is affected by the actions of the Federal Reserve. We are monitoring carefully. Is the dollar going to depreciate in value? Will that push up prices here? Is it going to raise the rates of treasuries, which will make our interest expenses totally unsustainable? So this is one we have to pay attention to.
We absolutely have to pay attention to it. Look, what the Fed decides to do in raising or lowering interest rates, it can make the difference on, as we talked about, whether you're able to buy a house in Omaha, if you're able to expand your business, if you live in Detroit. It affects if the grocery prices are going up and down in Atlanta. So it is not lost on me that the president, what he is looking for is a majority of ideological loyalists on the Fed so that they can do all these things that he wants. And it's similar to Nixon, right? Nixon was threatening the Fed before his reelection in the 1970s because he wanted to lower inflation. He wanted to get the price under control, and that led to runaway inflation, and it was crazy for at least a decade. He's targeting Lisa Cook because he thinks she is a easy target. Yeah. And I think that he has made a grotesque miscalculation there. And if people allow this conversation to devolve into, well, is what they are kind of sort of accusing her of true or not, I think it misses the forest for one tree that might not even exist. Similarly to like how the military being in the streets of Washington, D.C., threatening the military in the streets of Chicago, that is not about crime. That's about control. This is not about accountability. Right. This is about acquiescence.
And not a single American in this country's life is better since inauguration. There's no concern anymore about working families, about the cost of goods. There's no concern about the economy. All of those things seem to have totally left the president's, vocabulary, and he just seeks to create one made-for-TV moment after another in order to detract from the fact that his administration is failing. He's losing popular support, and he's losing in court, and he doesn't have the American people behind him. And I think that's what you see. And then you have the Epstein files, which he continues to want to detract
all
from.
roads lead back to Epstein.
All roads
we're going to lose our economy over the Epstein files. I mean, come on.
So I just want to drop in the middle of the table because I like doing that. Simone knows. To all the points that have been made, which are excellent points, and they're important points, and I think a lot of folks in our audience can appreciate that, but I think they would probably wind up at the same spot I am right now after listening to everyone speak. So what do we do to protect this woman? What do we do to protect Ms. Cook, who we know is about to be railroaded out of her job, who we know the president does not have the authority, to your point, to fire, who we know the Supreme Court itself says the president does not have the authority to fire, but Donald Trump is going to fire her. Donald Trump is going to push her. He's going to try. So, but the question is, and it goes back to a real important question you raised about the American people and how they look at something like this. Do they connect with her? Do they understand exactly what removing her means to the effectiveness of our government, the transparency, and the importance of separation of power? It's why we don't have a unitary executive, folks, which is why we have 3 branches of government, which is why the founders spent 3 years fighting through that crap before they settled on this thing, and y'all trying to undo it all right now. So I just dropped whoever wants a piece of that.
Luke made a point about this earlier.
But I'll speak to this for a second because I think it's important. Okay, I went on the old Bird site today just to sort of see, right? And you look at it, and the way the right is framing it is that this is a DEI hire that is getting between you and a better economy.
Told you, going at the black people again.
Let Trump fire her, and the markets will open up, and we'll have it'll be better than it's ever been before. Well, the economy that President Biden left was on the cover of The Economist, the envy of the world. It has since now regressed considerably. We see contractions in the market. We see people feeling tariff tax. So it gets back to this point of it's absolutely a unilateral attempt to try to control the American economy, but to whose benefit? That's the sort of thing here. It's the smallest percentage of people who would benefit from this. It's the President of the United States, and who else? Because the true economists look at this and go, this is not going to end up well. People are going to be scared to invest in the United States. you see the fallout from this. If this is what's going to happen going forward, the Democratic president comes in there and goes, I'm going to fire every single Republican who was ever added to this. We just become, what do we go into, a parliamentary democracy?
Right,
It's like back and forth, back and forth.
But this is a big
y'all
test.
are assuming Donald Trump is remodeling the White House because he plans to leave. That's another story.
But this is a big test for Jay Powell as well.
Yes.
Jay Powell,
Well, he failed it today. Did you see the statement?
Republican-
What was the
Simone did not like that
a
statement.
Republican nominated by President Biden, and we did not hear that she is still a member of the board. We
Thank
heard
you.
that
Thank
she's
you.
going to have to go to court. And I think this is also a big, big thing to focus on, is that will there be anyone who stands up, or is everyone just going to relent? I think another lesson for everybody here is apparently you can rifle through people's paperwork, not go to court, but release a tweet and a screenshot with an allegation, and it's judge, jury, and executioner. And if they can do that to her, they could do it.
Well, I want to say, she said she's going to court. And I do think that you're going to see the courts, as they have done throughout this administration, have to step in and take a role here. Now, the problem is Donald Trump doesn't want to be held accountable to anybody. And he's trying to use this to distract. But I think there is good fight left in this. I think that she has said she's going to go to court.
But I want to Simone's point, did Jay Powell, because I know exactly where you're going to go. I'm going to take you there. Did Jay Powell show himself to be a Republican today?
I think what Jay Powell showed today is that he's very much so comfortable aggressively defending himself in the face of the president's authoritarian attempts to overreach into the Federal Reserve. He has no problem defending himself. He has no problem giving us good memes on the hard hat standing next to the president trying to check him. But he has every issue of defending a duly elected governor to the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. It was insane for the statement to say she has said she's going to go to court, and the courts, and that is by way of which the vehicle through which she will continue to serve. What?
Right.
They should have said today the Federal Reserve had an opportunity to steel their spine and say, no, Mr. President.
She is a member of the board.
She is a member of the Board of Governors until the court tells us otherwise.
And we are independent.
And we are independent, and they did not say that.
And we don't know, is she, from that statement, is she a governor? Can she vote right now?
Does her badge still work? Is she still getting paid? Does she have an office?
And
did they turn it off?
people in the markets want to know what is going on here. And of course, she has signaled that she will fight. But even if and when she prevails, what is the sanction for those who might have gone through with this? And I think that's something that ultimately the public has to answer.
That statement, it read like one of those statements that sports teams put out when their player does something absolutely terrible.
Right.
And it's like, we're trying to get to the bottom of this. Once we get to the bottom of it, we'll have
already
more to
started
say.
packing his.
I mean, look, I think this was an opportunity.
I will just read from it to make a point.
Yeah.
The Federal Reserve will continue to carry out its duties as established by law. Lisa Cook has indicated through her personal attorney that she will promptly challenge this action in court and seek a judicial decision that would confirm her ability to continue to fulfill her responsibilities as a Senate-confirmed member of the Board of Governors.
It could have been a profile in courage, and it wasn't. It was a very milquetoast, we're going to let the process play out.
It's that last part, that she will continue to, what was that?
That would confirm her ability to continue to fulfill her responsibilities.
So until such time as she's able to confirm her ability to continue her duties as a member of the Fed,
we don't know.
We don't know.
It's a question for Jerome Powell.
That's the question.
Does the badge work?
Does the badge work?
I will just note she is going to court to say that the president is trying to unlawfully remove her, not to litigate the lie that's being told about her.
That's it.
And we'll see how this all plays out. This was great. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you, guys.
Rohit Chopra, Skye Perryman, thank you.